What are we here for again?
There's some sort of podcast thing that we do.
All right.
Something about shifting gears?
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. My name is Ryan Muse, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Mike.
Hello.
And Dave.
Hello.
Hello. My name is Elder Young. Hello. Did you know that Jesus lived here in the USA? You can read all about it now. Hello. In this nifty book, it's free. No, you don't have to pay. Hello. Hello.
So that was part of the opening song to the Book of Mormon, the mega hit Broadway musical, which has returned to Toronto. And in today's episode, we will review the show and count down our top 5.5 outrageous comedies. All that and more on the Shifting Focus podcast.
Hello. Hi. My name is Jesus Christ. You have a lovely home. Hello. It's an amazing book. Bonjour. Hola. Ni hao. Me llamo Elder White. Are these your kids? This book gives you the secret to eternal life. Sound good?
Andy Dufresne, who crawled through a river of shit and came out clean on the other side.
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
Welcome again to the show where we talk movies, TV shows, games, books, and occasionally stage shows, apparently, like the Book of Mormon, which we all had the chance to see over the weekend. But before we get into our discussion on that, let's discuss some entertainment news that has come around this week. First off, I wanted to bring up ReBoot. It's like my favorite
ReBoot
cartoon from the 90s when I was growing up. I think a lot of people remember it, obviously.
Definitely remember it.
Yeah, it was Canadian made, but I think it was very popular even in the States. They are rebooting ReBoot. It's going to center, instead of just on the one character of Bob with that silver hair guardian guy of the internet, it's going to be 4 teenagers who have to go through school during the day, and then when they get home, they get to go on the computer, and they're the guardians of cyberspace. It sounds a little ridiculous. What's really cool, I think, about this is that all the computer animated components are actually going to be animated with the Unreal Engine 4, which is the game engine.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty much the Unreal Engine 3 dominated all the previous generation of video games, and 4, there's not as many, but if you think Gears of War on Xbox One, it looks incredible, and that's rendered real time. Imagine what they can do with some pre-rendered stuff.
So is this going to be just like a bunch of, what Reddit moderators do in real life, and then now they've cartooned it?
Right? I don't know, right?
Guardians of the internet.
Right? Are they going to be like the geeky kids of the school, or are they going to be, like Power Rangers? They're going to be the cool,
You're going to have 3 nice ones, and one's going to be a troll, and they're just going to be fucking
Or
with
will
everybody
it be
who comes around.
So in the previous format, one of the recurring elements was the virus that they had to fight. Actually, several viruses. Well, sorry, there was one virus, one corruption they constantly had to face off against, and the games.
Mm-hmm. There's an image out there that everyone can go see to see what the CG elements are going to look like, and it looks very cool. And it's hard to tell exactly what's happening, if they're fighting something or if they're in a game or not. But either way, I think it's going to be really cool to see. I hope they do it well. I hope maybe this leads us into a Beast Wars show again, which was my second favorite cartoon to watch as a kid.
Cool show.
Yeah, I mean, we could use a proper Transformers TV show. I say proper not because I know what the Transformers TV shows are doing these days, but the movies are a bloody mess.
Yep.
Another big thing that I saw, did you guys hear about the Joss Whedon's next project?
I did hear some mumblings
Super
about
exciting.
it, I think, from you.
Yes, that's right, you did. And really, the rest of the freaking internet, because...
I kind of wonder what's going on with Marvel and why they're letting one of their people jump to the dark side.
So, I mean, Joss Whedon, for those who don't know, and I don't know why you don't if you're someone who listens to this show, he was the director of Avengers and Avengers 2. He's worked on so many things. He's worked on X-Men comics before. Like, he's a big deal in the geeky universe.
You're kind of glossing over some of his earlier work.
I was focusing on more superhero things, but you're right. Firefly and Buffy and
already
Dollhouse,
a superhero,
and
already a strong female superhero.
That's true. You're right. You know what? I forgot, because I get into all that in my geek-splaining episode. If you guys want to go onto YouTube and follow me there, you can watch a video that I did about it. But what I wanted to ask you guys was who you think should play Batgirl? Because we all agree Joss Whedon is perfect for a director, right? I mean,
yeah, I think he'll do a great job with this property. I like Molly C. Quinn from Castle. She plays Castle's daughter.
Yep, we were talking about her. Yeah.
I think she'd be a great Barbara Gordon / Batgirl.
I brought up that she seems, at least what we've seen her do, has been just more on the cutesy side, the bubbly girl side, which is exactly what is right, I think, sometimes for Barbara Gordon. But then, can she pull off the brooding anger and violence of Batgirl?
I think so. I've seen in Castle they did have her grow up, and she actually starts working on a business.
Oh, cool.
So you do see a more adult side of her, less cute, more professional, which I think that it just shows that she could, I think, fill that role.
Yep. Someone who I was thinking about similar along the lines of Molly C. Quinn is Haley Steinfeld. If there's the movie that she has out now called Edge of 17, you've probably seen the trailer. It's kind of funny. It has Matthew McConaughey, or no, the other guy. What's the guy that you... Looking at Mike, there's an actor that he really likes that I don't like. It's not Matthew McConaughey, even though that's one of them. Edge of 17. I don't know if you guys not seen it.
No, sorry.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, okay, it was really...
It's not Ryan Reynolds.
It did well in theaters. No, I like Ryan Reynolds. Oh. But she plays this really, I guess... teenager going through typical teenager stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know who she is now. She.
But then she was in True Grit, the remake True Grit, which was a pretty good movie. But she stole the show from that movie. If you guys remember that, she was the badass girl who goes out there and tries to recruit someone for her cause, right, to help her out. And I could see if she can blend those two kind of characters into what I think the perfect combination of Batgirl would be.
I to be honest, I haven't seen True Grit, so I couldn't give any comments on that. But just looking at her, I have seen her in other stuff. She does seem to be able to carry whatever role she's in, so she could definitely be a cool. I picked Molly because I think she's got the right look for it, and I think she'd fit in. But really, with the makeup and everything of Hollywood, they can make anyone look like how they want Barbara Gordon to be.
That's true. What about some Joss Whedon standbys that we see in a lot of his work? Felicia Day.
Felicia Day is an easy pick.
Felicia Day is an easy pick, but I think she can do well. She could do Gordon. I don't think she can do Batgirl.
Right.
Like she can't put on the dark.
I'm rooting for Summer Glau if we're looking at some of his previous people he's worked with, because I think she's got the dark badassness that you would need for Batgirl.
But I don't think she could play the peppy.
She's a ballerina, though, so she can do all the flips and kicks and stuff, because she did a lot of her own stunts, even in the Firefly and Serenity.
Oh, that's
movie.
right. Yeah, we did see her kind of kick ass in Firefly.
But I mean, I don't think she can play Gordon as well.
Why?
Well, it's just she always plays
not bubbly
this.
enough?
She's not bubbly enough. She always plays a very somber character, and she's always very somber, very stoic, and trying to get that other side of Batgirl, I think would be very difficult.
So maybe they cast two actors. Maybe they do something really cool and different we've never seen before. Get someone as the alter ego.
Well, I mean, depending on how they do the mask,
right?
For Batgirl, it could be somebody else.
It could be somebody else. That'd be kind
of cool. But Mike, I think you were saying you really like Scarlett Johansson for both characteristics.
I do. I think she could play both characters very well. The only downside to it is I think with it coming out now and Ghost in the Shell being kind of obviously not going to be a single movie with how well it's done, you're going to get like she already kind of is playing that the darker side of the Batgirl character in Ghost in the Shell. She's playing that dark,
Black Widow type character, you mean?
Kind of.
Although
that'd be poaching more from the Marvel universe.
Although I think you mean to say, based on the ending to Ghost in the Shell, it seemed like there might be sequels. But based on what it's done in theaters, there's no way. It's probably going to be one of the biggest losses. Of the year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It cost like $110 million, and it's only done like I don't remember, but like 20 or 30.
Why
or 40.
are you people not going to see that movie?
Right, and you know what's funny? It just opened in Japan this past weekend, and I was reading Japanese reviews about them. They're better than North American reviews. Like they're liking it better, and they'll be asked, "What do you think of the casting?" And they're like, "Well, if they made it in Japan, they would have gotten some idol to play it, like which is the like equivalent of getting a model or a star singer, getting like Rihanna to play it or something." And they don't want that. They think it's dumb, and they even said it's like, look, this is a Hollywood blockbuster. It's supposed to be all visual and all style and but a mindless storyline. And Scarlett Johansson's perfect. Someone even said the only reason I'm going to see this movie is for Scarlett Johansson. So they're loving it, but they're a very small money-wise market.
Yeah, there was nothing about the Ghost in the Shell. I wasn't familiar with the source material, so there was nothing about it that drew me in to say like, oh, I've got to see how they make this into a movie. Your excitement drew me in. Like, this is going to be great. I'm like, then I will happily. I mean, it looked like a cool movie on its own.
Yeah.
So I was willing to check it out, just like an actual futuristic sci-fi adventure movie.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying, Mike.
Yeah.
If they do continue with them, it would be kind of strange, I suppose, to have them side by side.
Yeah, to have her side by side. Next thing in the news, so Justice League. Yeah. We already know they're going to try and cram 6 movies into one.
Like we talked about, yeah.
Turns out that they're going to have 3 hours to do it because the movie is 170 minutes long.
Yeah, so you said that now means they're going to try to do 12 movies in one. Right?
That's right. They can fit they can catch up to the Marvel Cinematic Universe in one movie right here. They're going to cram everything into it.
How long do you know how long Batman v Superman was?
No, not offhand, but it was over 2 hours as well.
Yeah, it was like 2.5 hours.
I think the extended edition might be this long.
Yeah. That long? I thought maybe just 2.5 hours, not 3.
Yeah, I think the extended edition was like 2.5. I think
it was an extra 20 minutes or something.
I don't think the theater one cracked the 2 hour mark.
Yeah.
It did.
Oh, it did. Yeah, I know it did.
I thought it was right there.
It was a very long movie. And
it was too long.
And it's funny because they had all the time and they still tried to cram in too much. And that's what we were saying last week, that they're just trying to... it looks from the trailer they're going to cram in. Yeah. And to be 3 hours of things crammed in to a movie, I don't think we could stand that.
No, try to go with Iron Fist example, where you can do 13 episodes and really cover nothing.
Yeah, we need a mix. You need halfway between Iron Fist and the DC Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
You mean like Marvel's doing?
Yeah.
What do you know? Huh. Now, DC, though, does have a new TV show coming out.
So, you guys have heard me talk about this before. I'm a big fan of the Arrowverse, or the Berlanti universe, whatever they want to call it, where the Arrow, Flash...
You a fan of Flash?
I am a fan of Flash. Have I not mentioned this before? I love that show. Supergirl,
Flash is the
Legends
guy that goes
of Tomorrow.
really slow, right?
It is, yeah. So slow you can't even see him.
That's what I
thought. So they're adding another show to this universe. It is going to be a part of the same universe. It's still going to be on the CW. The DCWB, I think, is going to be the new name of the channel.
So we're currently at 4 hours a week, and they're now taking us up to 5.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I will watch that 5 hours. We don't know a lot about it right now. We just know it's going to be starring Cress Williams. Not really familiar. He was
Did we
one
say
of the
the
stars.
name of the show?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can't remember if we did or not.
Black Lightning.
Black Lightning.
And he will be taking the starring role. Jefferson Pierce, a.k.a. Black Lightning. The show, we don't really know a lot about it yet. We do know that it's going to be him coming back out of retirement. So he had retired his vigilante gloves years ago, but now with issues, his one daughter is looking for justice. His other daughter is getting kind of pulled into gangs, so he feels the need to dress up again and hit the streets. I don't know anything about it, so I don't really have an opinion, but I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, I read a quote by the writer-director who said that that this comic was actually something that he really enjoyed. When he was 13, Black Lightning was created in the comic books. And he says, there was finally a black superhero that gave a damn about our neighborhood and our lives. So I guess from that perspective, making this show is going to have an audience, and it's a good idea, I guess, to add
I think it's a great
of color
idea
to the group. I know we've got Diggle and... but but he's
going to be starring. He is going to be the star of this show.
Yeah, exactly. It looks cool. I like the costume. There's a photo online you can check out. It looks pretty cool. It fits very much in line with the other costumes they've got going on, like Adam and
all the. I like how in these shows there's the I guess what's the word I'm looking for? The spectrum of costumes. Like they have the very simple, where it's basically just the guy with a weapon. You don't really see anything else about it. Sure. And then you've got like the full, almost comic book style outfits, like the Flash and Firestorm. They're really done up and it all fits. Supergirl in her whole suit.
Right.
Yeah, it's Woody Harrelson. To go back for a second to Edge of 17. Woody Harrelson's in
You don't like Woody Harrelson?
No, I don't.
Why not?
He's a good actor at all.
So I guess you don't want to see War of the Planet of the Apes?
I do, and he looks, yeah, I don't know. I really like the War of the Planet of the Apes, so I don't really care who they got to act in it. They could have gotten Adam Sandler as the villain and have him do silly voices for the movie, and I still would have gone to see it, but I'm sure we all would have been disappointed with that take.
Since we were already talking about spin-offs, with Black Lightning coming to the Arrowverse, they've also heard some more about the Big Bang Theory spin-off, currently titled Young Sheldon, which will be following young Sheldon Cooper.
Why?
So I know you guys don't agree with me. Like I'm a big fan of Big Bang Theory. I think it's a hilarious show. I don't think it's jumped the shark. I still think they're doing new and interesting things every year.
Forget the shark. They jumped like the entire ocean on this
They
one.
have long
They lined up every single shark and jumped them all.
They've long overstayed their welcome.
I think they're still doing great because they keep expanding and exploring the characters. They've gone from these group of nerds that were kind of awkward and antisocial. They just had their own little group. They've now grown up. Some of them are married. Some of them now have kids. Sheldon is actually living with his girlfriend.
But aren't they the same? But they're still the same characters. They haven't changed.
And they haven't lost. They've lost their intelligence. Like the show.
That's what I read. I haven't seen.
Lost its intelligence.
I don't think so.
It's just a dumb sitcom now.
That was the reason I stopped
trying
watching.
to any of their science jokes. Obviously, they want to make sure that it's a joke that everyone's going to get, not just the nerds.
They didn't care about that in the first few seasons.
But there are still the nerd jokes in there.
Yeah, in the first few seasons, it was chock full of nerd jokes that I'd watch with my...
There's still tons of nerd jokes.
I don't want to name people, but I would watch it with them and they wouldn't get it, and I'd be laughing my ass off.
Yeah, they've dumbed this. They've definitely zeroed in on the lowest common denominator.
I can't comment on like the latest seasons if maybe they've brought it back up or not, but I stopped watching because after a few years because of that.
I don't know. I still think they're doing a good job mixing the nerdiness with just growing up and adapting to the world.
Okay.
That being said, though, I don't need this spinoff.
No,
I don't care.
Like I'll
try it. It comes
it's
out.
Sheldon. Why would you spin off Sheldon of all characters?
Right. Like that's the thing. I feel like sometimes spinning off shows could work. You know, you've got NCIS, Law and Order, CSI, but they're not taking a character and making a new show with that character. They're taking the concept and the idea of what works, the established brand, and they just follow new people in a new setting. But this isn't the oddball sidekick character getting their own show.
Yeah, we should go talk to Matt LeBlanc and see how well Joey did.
Right? Did we often forgotten about Joey or the Lone Gunman, the X-Files spin-off show?
He's not the sidekick. He's one of the main characters of this show. But he's actually one of the big stars.
Certainly, because he's the fan favorite.
Yes.
But the main character is what's his name?
It's Leonard and Penny.
And Penny. They're the main characters.
Leonard and Penny are the main characters.
He's the kooky sidekick.
Kooky sidekicks, yeah. The other three...
I think you can make the argument that Leonard and Sheldon are the main characters, and the girls and Harold and... not Wallace.
You can make the argument, but you'd be wrong.
That they're sidekicks.
I think if you stopped watching it after the second season, yes. But once Penny and Leonard become a thing, the show morphed into...
I would say 90% of the stories revolve around either Leonard or Sheldon, and usually it's Sheldon.
Now, one thing you can bring up to compare to this is Frasier. That was one Cheers, and that was one of the kooky side characters.
Right, he was an occasional character. So
that's why I think that worked.
Yeah. So the equivalent for this would be doing a spin-off with the guy that runs the comic book store.
Yes.
No, I'm not saying one. I'm saying that would be the equivalent.
I know the Big Bang spin-off I want to see.
What?
The guy with the lisp at the university that's always making fun of Sheldon.
God.
Oh, he's the most annoying character in the world.
Yeah.
I would watch the hell out of that spin-off for the train wreck that it would become.
I would be interested almost in the comic book store spin-off. That sounds better than a young Sheldon because you're right. It's the idea of getting this not a main character,
right?
This
and then you have
occasional
some freedom
character.
to kind of stretch and move around with him. With young Sheldon, we know where the character ends up.
Yeah.
So there's a limit to what they can do with him to get him there.
Well, and they've talked about so much of his past.
Right.
That, we've already seen it. Like we've seen young Sheldon. There's nothing new there.
Right. I mean,
which I guess fits for where Big Bang is gone because there's nothing new there either.
Well, Dave, as a fan of Big Bang Theory, would you watch this show?
I would try it, but it's not on my top list of like, I've definitely got to check it out. But if I flip through the channels and it's on, well, actually, that's not true. I will definitely see the pilot because I want to see what they do with it. Whether I go beyond the pilot or not, the pilot's also going to be directed by John Favreau.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. It's like the size of the dump truck they must have backed up to his house to get him to do this pilot.
Yeah.
Like, the ones with the wheels that are like 20 feet tall and like the park a normal dump truck next to it type thing, and it looks like a toy. Like the dump truck that they backed up to his must be the one bigger than that. Like,
John Favreau. It definitely seems like it's stunt casting or stunt directing in this case. They just got a big name and gave him a ton of money so that they can get people to watch it.
Right.
Which makes me feel even less confident in the quality.
Well, they've already committed to a series.
What's this other show though you have here, Dave?
Oh, The Awesome Show. So that should be good. The Awesome Show is going to be hosted by Chris Hardwick, who, if you guys aren't familiar with him,
no, I'm not.
You may have heard. Yeah, you've
Talking
seen
Dead,
him on Talking Dead. He is the brain or where Nerdist spawned from. So Chris Hardwick loves the tech. He's a big nerd too. It's going to be him talking about the latest advances in technology. 6 episodes have already been ordered by NBC.
Cool.
He also hosts At Midnight. If you're not watching At Midnight, watch At Midnight. It is one of the best comedies out there.
Is it on sometime around midnight?
It's actually on, I think, at 11 o'clock now.
Oh, they moved it.
They did.
Oops. That joke was funnier.
They would keep making comments about it. It's 11:59, 59 seconds. Welcome to At Midnight. Then they got moved to 11:30, and they're like, it's 11:29 and 59 seconds. We're 30 minutes away from At Midnight. And now he's like, and he'll just make some joke as the credits start rolling. But they're not going to change the name of it, regardless of what time slot they get to.
No. One thing that I want to tell you guys about, which I thought was very cool, is this interview that I read on Inverse.com with one of the visual effects artists, or the lead visual effects artist on Game of Thrones. He's done a lot of other work too, but he's got lots of Emmys in his repertoire. And they recently were asking him just about visual effects, and the conversation turned to VR and AI. Now, we all know, well, I'm saying we as in the people in this room, but the listeners might not know, but a lot of the filming of Rogue One's special effects scenes, the Star Wars movie, were done with VR cameras and VR headsets, where they would have the camera exist in their hands, but it would just be something that moves around in the scene, and they would see the animation and everything before them in the headset that they were wearing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and so he was talking about how it's going to be very interesting that's where things are going with big budget effect movies. What's going to be even interesting, he says, is that the research being done into AI, artificial intelligence, is moving towards and merging with VR, and he says that he sees that as the next frontier for computer animation or heavy CG animated films or just heavy CG scenes in movies. He's talking about getting... like Peter Cushing, the actor who passed away, who was Grand Moff Tarkin in the Star Wars movies.
Right.
He was completely CG. Even if you didn't know that, when you're in the movie, you kind of can tell. But they still did a damn good job with him. So what he's saying is one day he thinks we're gonna have this digital bad guy here like Tarkin, but he is not going to be animated by hand or by motion capture. He's going to be directed through computer code of what he has to do, what his lines are, where he goes in the scene, and then move around in that area virtually, but also procedurally generated, not pre-rendered. It's really cool. I highly recommend everyone check this out. The links will be included on our website if you go check out, go to our website or Facebook or whatnot.
While I see that as becoming a bigger technology and definitely influencing the way movie making and TV making will be done, I don't think it's going to replace, the actual actors and the sets. I can see
but we already are replacing the actors and sets. That's the thing.
Well, you're replacing the actors, but it's still an actor that's voicing the character.
But the voice is added after.
Right, but you still need the human emotion to model over.
Well,
I don't think the AI and the CGI is good enough right now to fully emulate on its own.
I think you're right now, but I think right now is going to be over in the next 10 years. And just think, how much did they pay Vin Diesel for Groot? How long did he walk around the set? How long did Vin Diesel walk around the set wearing those stilts? How much did it to pay for that, for an actor of that caliber? Forget his paycheck. How much insurance did they have to pay to make sure that when he broke an ankle on one of those stilts, he wasn't out for 6 months out of doing a movie?
Right.
Well, now you don't have to do that anymore. You put him in a sound booth. He says, "I am Groot" 18 different ways, and you send him home, and you got a half an hour to an hour worth of work instead of 2-3 weeks of filming, where he's just wearing a green leotard and walking around on stilts the whole time.
I mean, think about it. We've got all the technology in all these different places that if you just bring them together, and look at the Google Home or Amazon Echo, you talk to it, it talks back, and it talks back sounding pretty darn close to someone who's actually talking to you.
Alexa, you could carry on a conversation with Alexa, and if you didn't know, you would kind of not know type thing. Like if you didn't know it was Alexa.
Yeah. So I think you have all these different technologies, and we're getting there.
I still think we're like years away from that becoming.
There's a TV show that the character had an Amazon Dot, and they used the real Alexa answers, and it was like she talked to her Dot, and the Dot responded with the real answer.
And it was filmed that way.
It was filmed that way. It was like, holy crap! It was an ad for Amazon. I mean, you're not stupid. It talks back.
That's really cool.
It interacts with you. It's not just a robot.
And Dave, think about this. What was your reaction when I told you that they used virtual cameras and VR headsets? You didn't even know that they did that. But Rogue One isn't the first movie they did it on.
Right,
so,
but that's not replacing the actors. That's a way of shaping, of giving them a bit more freedom when they're crafting that scene, right? Because they can move around that scene. Oh, we got this angle, but because we got these VR cameras, we can actually change that angle and get it from a different perspective.
You said they're not going to replace the actor, but I just told you that they've actually already replaced the camera, and they've already replaced the sets. So now we don't need cameras and we don't need sets. What's next? Actors.
Because
they're on their way out too.
Non-thinking, solid object.
Game of Thrones already has an extensive extra cast.
Yep.
Just imagine if they had to actually have the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of extras for like for like the
so they're already replacing thousands of extras.
They get 100 people and they make it look like 10,000.
And you know what?
Because they're using the technology to model 100 real people and replicate it. They're not just trying to generate 100
people. What I mean is
people.
that they've gotten rid of 1,000 people that they would have had. They would have had 1,000 a couple years ago. They would have had 1,000 people.
Yeah, and I can't believe I didn't think about this. Think about Avatar. They replaced the main character and all the main characters with CG people. You've got what's his name? I don't remember the character's name, the actors' names. But Avatar, you're just watching CG blue aliens run around, and all they're doing is they're being animated motion capture and they're being face captured.
Right. So
eventually that's going to go away though. That's the thing.
But they were still having to use the actors themselves
video
as
games
the model.
Are already replacing motion capture with, AI driven characters who are running around a scene, right?
Right. Didn't they do that with Mass Effect Andromeda?
No.
They had so many dialogue scenes that they had it generated through the code for how they'd be speaking.
But that's the engine. Every game does that. The problem with Andromeda is that they didn't go back and refine what was
because there were so many
rendered.
options, right?
Well, I think it was just rushed. The game was just rushed through production.
You all know the Bible is made of testaments old and new. You've been told it's just those two parts, or only one if you're a Jew. But what if I were to tell you there's a fresh third part out there, which was found by a hip new prophet who had a little Donny Osmond flair.
So getting on to the review, this week we decided to look at the Book of Mormon. This is the Broadway musical. This is a little different than what we've done in the previous episodes, and we like to keep things different. We're called Shifting Focus because we like to shift the focus from different kinds of entertainment media, not just movies or TV shows. Anyway, so this was the musical from the creators of South Park, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, and with this they teamed up with Robert Lopez, who name might not be familiar, but his work is. He's the Tony Award winner of Avenue Q.
Also hilarious.
Yeah. He's also won an Emmy and an Oscar for Disney's Frozen. And he's the latest person to have the EGOT, the Emmy, the Grammy, the Oscar, and the Tony.
Nice.
Yeah.
I actually, until I was looking into this, I knew he worked on Avenue Q. I did not know he was a part of Frozen.
No, me neither. Until I looked that up for this.
A very different soundtrack.
Slightly, yes.
Those.
And then Book of Mormon, a bit.
Book of Mormon or Avenue Q. Avenue Q has a song called Porn and another song called Everyone's a Little Bit Racist.
Could you imagine, just imagine, if you went back to Frozen and mixed it with Book of Mormon?
Right? Now, the Book of Mormon, to just give everyone a quick summary so those who might not be aware of it, is this musical journey that follows two young Mormon missionaries as they're sent to Africa and they're sent there to share the scripture. And this is wrapped inside just satire, lewd references, hilariously crude songs. The story really just encourages us to not just take religion so seriously and to perhaps focus on the meaning behind the words instead of the words themselves. Now, I enjoyed it. I think we all enjoyed it.
It was my second time seeing it. I thought it was fantastic. Again.
I didn't stop laughing throughout the entire thing. I just couldn't breathe.
Yeah, I laughed very hard. I had this giant dumb grin on my face for the whole time.
If I wasn't laughing at what was on the stage, I was laughing at the lady sitting 2 rows in front of me. she didn't know what she was getting into. And to be honest, that's her fault, because this is not the first time this has been out. This has been out for a while now, and she had no idea.
Well, it's theater. I mean, how bad could it be?
She was coming to the theater, and it was not.
It was
what she
it was South
expected.
Park Live.
Oh God.
So I wish I could discuss with the audience. Say, are you a fan of South Park? Then you should go see this. Are you not? Maybe you should reconsider.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those ones where I'm not going to be recommending this to a lot of people.
Right.
Not because there's anything wrong with it, just because I don't want them to think there's something wrong with me.
Right. I mean,
I was thinking more like it's not everyone's type of humor.
Definitely
not everyone's
no.
also open to the comedic criticism. Mm-hmm. Right, because that's Matt and Trey are really good at making you laugh at something that you thought was serious and that you took very seriously before, and you're like, I realize how ridiculous it sounds now.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I would definitely see it again. I would definitely recommend it, but very cautiously.
Yeah,
Selectively cautious. Yeah, I wouldn't send my dad to this, but I would send my mother-in-law. She would love it.
Yeah, right. I don't know how crazy your mother-in-law is, but maybe she would. No, I was just going to say, like, I'm the same way in that I know people well enough to say, like, yes, I think you would like this, or no, I don't think you should go anywhere near this.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's an incredible piece of art, but just like all good works of art, it's going to offend more than not.
Yeah, I would disagree with you, though, on the art part of this, because I really, as much as I enjoyed it, and the music, you really will have your toe tapping the whole time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But still, some of the most outrageous and memorable comedy moments came from the songs. I don't know, I just felt like once you hear the joke once or twice, I feel like the shock value will diminish. I don't know if there's much to return to music-wise outside of seeing it in the theater. It was a very visual show, which is what, of course, it should be, but there's a lot of stage shows where you can just sort of listen to the soundtrack by itself separately afterwards, and you're not just reminiscing about what you saw on screen, you're actually enjoying it for the song. I don't know if these songs, I don't feel like these songs are re-listenable, if that's a word.
I've heard the songs separate from the show, and I still enjoy them. I don't know if it's, actually, I was familiar with the soundtrack before I went to the movie, so I know it's not just based on it. It's because some of the songs are ridiculous. I've always liked parody songs, though. Like, I've always been a fan of Weird Al.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. I love Weird Al. I love Tenacious D and Lonely Island. But I feel like this is different. A lot of the comedy was just for the shock value of it, which is exactly what South Park is. And you don't. Most people don't rewatch South Park episodes. You'll rewatch maybe one or two of them, and you'll watch, of course, every episode in the season because you enjoy it and it's funny. And South Park is really just like Book of Mormon. It was shock comedy at its best, but it's not high art at all. It is dumb comedy with clever nuggets inside.
So I didn't see it as just shock. They would use the shock to get your attention, and I found that the shock was usually near the end. Like they would bring stuff up, like with the song "I Believe." Like every so often he'd be singing along, reaffirming his face. He's like, "And I believe that I will get my own planet," which just throws everyone right off.
Right off to the side.
You want to what? Like, where did this?
Where did that come from?
Part of their beliefs.
And that was well done because we never had anything up to that song that indicated that was a part of the belief. So when he throws that into the song, it was great.
Yeah, you get all these
and that's
subtle references to the Mormons' faith. Mm-hmm. Then you're learning about the religion of the Mormons. Like, I wasn't familiar with it before this show. It's a really interesting story.
I have to say, too, one of the best things is the playbill. In the playbill, there's an ad for the Mormon religion, and it's so well done. Because you figure if you were to make fun of insert religion here, they're most likely not going to take it very well. And instead, the Mormons got together and decided, or whatever, their publicist arm got together and decided, well, you know what? We can do that, or
we can roll with
it. And I'll bet you anything they've got some converts.
Seen the play, now read the book.
Yeah, well, what did it say in the ad? It was
our version is slightly different with a picture of the book.
Well, Dave, so you've seen it twice now.
Yeah.
Would you see it a third time?
I would. I think it's hilarious. I mean,
really?
It's not something I'd go and see every week. Right. But every couple of years, it's a great show. I would still go back and see it again. I think it's hilarious.
I want to see the Broadway one. I actually want to go to New York and watch it in Broadway. Just because I feel like the theater we saw it at, there was some issue with the sound system that they decided to use.
But because that can change from where it's performed.
Yeah.
I didn't want to dwell too much on that because that's very much a part of where we saw it and who we saw perform it.
Yeah, and so I really want to see it in Broadway, like proper, big Broadway production, and see if just enjoy it that much more.
Yeah, I don't think the production would be any different. I think it would just be better audio, because really there was a serious audio problem. The speakers could not keep up with the one of the male leads and the female lead. They would hit certain high notes and they'd hold them, and the speaker would crash and burn.
Yeah,
it couldn't keep up with them, and it almost pulls you out of it, but I think Mike and I, even though we noticed it, we still were enjoying. I don't know if I can speak for you, but I think you're still enjoying. You can see past it. You can still appreciate the art of the singer.
I just realized that she hadn't stopped going up. Like I noticed it more for the female lead. Yeah. It was she. You could tell. Neutrogena. Yeah. Nutella.
Necrophilia.
She kept going up when the speaker stopped and leveled out. You could almost hear her down from the stage going higher. And it was like, holy cow, the lungs on that woman.
But I think all around the table, we all enjoyed it.
Yeah, but I would see it again, but I don't think I'd see it past a second time. I think that the what I got out of it, the comedy I got out of it, was all the shock moments, and they were hilarious the first time around. I feel they'd be chuckle-worthy the second time around, and the third time I'd know it was coming, and I'd be like, yeah, okay, there's just another dick and fart joke that the Stealth Park is famous for. I mean,
I think part of the enjoyment you can get is depending on who you bring with you. So like I went the first time I went was with my wife. Mm-hmm. This time I brought you guys. Yeah. So if I went again, I probably wouldn't go with you guys again. I'd bring someone else.
What the hell, man?
Oh no, you guys. Jesus. Well, you could definitely come, but
okay.
I mean, I would want to invite other people. Like,
I'm not going with you anymore.
Share it with them as well. Even from the start, when they go, like, they're dragging a dead donkey across the stage. That's how you're introduced to Africa. God.
No, when you get introduced to Africa was when they're still at the airport.
Oh, right, Mrs. Brown.
Mrs. Brown, the only black lady in Utah, starts jumping around the stage in the most outrageous getup I've ever seen.
It looks right out of the Lion King musical.
It really did, yeah.
Oh, no, I think they were reenacting part of the musical.
Yeah.
Well, that was their thing, was that they're going to Africa, which is the Lion King.
Like the Lion King.
Oh, it's not that at all.
Yeah, and so one of my favorite visual gags was when they bring one of the characters out, and he's on his gurney, and a doctor comes out, and there's this poster that falls from the ceiling, and it's supposed to show an X-ray, and it shows. You can tell it's showing the butt, and you can tell that there's a book shoved up there.
Not a book. You can tell it's the Book of Mormon.
The Book of Mormon. A character got it shoved up his ass, and that was hilarious, but only because in the moment you don't expect it, and it's the funniest thing. And another thing about the show is it kind of it eschews normal storytelling conventions. You have the sidekick character who pretty quickly takes center stage.
Yeah,
and the original main character, by the end, he's learned nothing. He has not changed at all.
No, that's not true.
That's not true.
No, not at all.
Did we watch a different play?
No, at the end, when he has a little revelation that in a typical story would be like, oh, I've been wrong this whole time, and I've learned the value of whatever has happening, and I've changed my ways. No, he still doesn't get it. He says the reason that he's changed is, oh, this is what God wanted me to do or something. It's like, no, you idiot. Like, that is not...
Well,
he misses the point
to
entirely.
Do something incredible, which is a joke they keep revisiting. Yeah. But then he realizes at the end of it, the incredible thing that he was going to do was not what he thought he was sent there to do, but to support Arnold.
He completely misses the point of what he was supposed to learn, and I just smacked my head and be like, this guy is a dummy, just like he has been for the whole show, and he still has missed out on the point of what the show was.
I didn't get that disagree. At all.
Yeah. I was disappointed with that main character, who wasn't really the main character, with his story arc, and I did like the fact that they focused on the sidekick as actually being the main character of the show, and what he, I guess, quote unquote, learned. Even he didn't learn anything, if you think about it.
I thought Arnold. Oh, I know, because Arnold didn't lose anything. Arnold didn't learn anything. No, and he wasn't really supposed to.
He was rewarded for his bad behavior.
He didn't learn anything.
Arnold, and he wasn't supposed to, because he's really not the main character.
But he ends up taking center stage after. It's almost as soon as after they get there, they have a bad time, and Price, Elder Price, he takes off and to go wallow in sorrow because he wanted to try to go to Orlando, and we're left with Cunningham, Arnold, and and it's all about him at that point, and the whole
it's all
show
about him, and it's all about him.
Really,
because one of his bad habits was that he makes things up.
Yeah, he lies,
but he starts to use that to help them.
But I think even then he's still playing second to Neutrogena at that point.
The female, okay, but that's just a male and female lead. They're both leads.
She's linking him to everyone else.
Yeah. But I think that you've got Elder Price is the main lead of the show. The show is about him, this journey of him going from, his finding that he doesn't quite believe the religion the way everyone else does, and seeing that he can still make something of it. And then you've got, I can't remember her real name. I just remember all the
jokes they made about her name
and everything.
It wasn't a necrophilia joke, rather. If anyone's wondering, it was just that they can never pronounce her name. They call her
Namalungi. Sorry,
Namalungi. Yeah, Arnold called her by a different N word every time.
Neosporin.
And she was the other main character, and her development is how she thought that this was like a true thing. Like this was a book of history, or not a history, a book of if I do
facts.
A, B will happen.
Yeah.
And they both kind of came to realize that it's not that. It's
So I think she's maybe supposed to represent us.
No.
Somewhat,
no.
yeah.
I like what Mike's saying. That is a very accurate description of what it's about. And
Arnold is just kind of like the delivery vehicle for these the two main characters. He's definitely he's top three most important.
He has the most stage time of all of them.
But that doesn't make him the focus character.
But he's the one that we follow for a significant amount of time, and he's the one we're supposed to care about what's happening. And by the end, he learns nothing, because they get kicked out of the religion, and they decide to just stay there and continue on teaching people about Mormonism, or really the idea of being a good person.
Yes.
Through the lens of Mormonism, but it's not really. It's their made up version.
Well, it's not, because it's not Mormonism anymore. It's the Book of Arnold.
Yeah, it's the Book of Arnold. Essentially, the book changes by the end. They're carrying a red book, and they all just go with it. So and that, I guess, maybe just fits in with the ridiculousness of the whole thing.
It's not the medium; it's the message.
Yeah, I like that, and I like that. That's how they decide to tell the story. But I mean, still, really, you can't call this art. I guess it depends on what your definition of art is, but.
I mean, if someone can stick a toilet to a wall and call it art, anything could be art. But I think this is
I
think proof in the pudding
musical,
is I think
this is 1 year in the Tonys.
This is
which I can't see how, unless like the rest of the competition
because it was original.
Just really bad.
It was because it was original. It was smart.
It wasn't smart. No,
it was
the smartness.
That's
what
where
I
Trey
mean.
and Matt are good. They make you think. They convert your thinking to what they're trying to tell you without you noticing. You're laughing along the entire time, and then at the end, and the entire time we were actually talking about something you take really seriously, and you're like, oh,
you're right.
But it's
that's
still
South
funny.
Park. You're right. That's what South Park is. But they wrap those, like I said, those tiny nuggets of clever insight with extreme ridiculousness, and it really makes the whole
it go
thing
down easy.
It's the sugar for the medicine.
But the nugget of cleverness is just so small.
It's not about you following the guides of your religion. If you're a horrible person, you're still a horrible person. It doesn't matter if you're following your religion.
Right. Yes.
You need to be, the whole point of any religion is to be a good person.
Right.
And that was the whole thing is Elder Price wasn't a good person.
No.
He was at the end. We realized the error of his ways and realized that
he did not become a good person.
He was
trying
to become a better person.
Yeah. And he barely changed by the end. He barely became a better person.
Well, I think he completely reversed.
Arnold, who was from the beginning, was a good person. Had a good heart.
Yeah.
But by the Mormon standards, he was useless. Right. They thought he was a failure.
Right. But even he didn't change because he still continues to be the same way by the end.
But he's not supposed to change.
Yeah.
No, he becomes more confident. Before at the start, he was a follower. He learned how to be a leader.
So this is a Tony Award-winning musical that we get to watch someone be a slightly more confident by the end and someone slightly better morally. Like, come on.
It's a Tony Award-winning
I feel like
musical because they use comedy and subtlety to teach you about religion.
Okay.
And to teach you about the importance of, regardless of what faith you follow, being a good person, helping those around you, and standing together are the important things.
And those are the reasons I enjoyed it. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not that I didn't like it. I just don't see this as anything beyond a typical episode of South Park, maybe some movie I'd watch once and never see it again. And the only reason that it was funny was because of the out of nowhere shock value. That's all. That's.
Oh yeah, I didn't. I would have said this would have worked even without that shock value.
I think it would have fallen right on its face.
No, I think the shock
there.
value was definitely needed, but I don't think it overshadowed the rest of the.
Right. I think the shock value is the only reason audiences are continuing to go back to it.
Well, no, because
because that's where the humor's coming from.
Yeah, and I think if you didn't have those shock moments, which are throughout the entire thing, then you wouldn't have a good show.
So we agree to disagree, but you still enjoyed it. You still liked it.
Yeah,
you just wouldn't go again.
I might go again in a year or something, and watch it again, but I'm not going to listen to the soundtrack again, and I don't know. I would probably never go more than twice to see the thing. That's our take on the Book of Mormon. If you agree or disagree, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at contact@shiftingfocuspodcast.com or even just drop us a tweet online. Our Twitter handle is @shiftfocuspod, and maybe we'll read some fan mail / fan tweets on our next show. All right, getting on past Book of Mormon, we'd like to go through every week a 5.5 list of things related to what our review was. And in this case, we're going to do 5.5 outrageous comedy shows, movies, what have you. For number 5, we're looking at Team America. Team America World Police. We wanted to put this at number 5 just because it is also Trey Parker and Matt Stone. And is there a musical? There's a song. There's a song.
A lot of
songs.
Yeah.
It's definitely a musical.
I'm so ornery.
America. That movie actually, I think for a little while held the record for the most F-bombs.
Maybe.
I believe it.
I think it was like 300 and something. I can't remember the exact number, but I remember it did hold it for
It's funny.
A good long while.
One thing you had told me about the Book of Mormon, Mike, was that you thought there was a lot of F words. Like the fuck was said a lot.
I did think they could cut out a few of them and still have it be.
And I thought Team America was funny because it's almost like they looked at the fact that they had puppets and they said, what's the most ridiculous thing you can do with puppets, which is make them kiss. It's not going to work, right?
Yeah.
Well, sex. And then if you guys remember, the sex scene is probably the longest scene in the movie. The most insane things that happen. And that's not even like the point. It's like, if it was real, it would be pornographic and banned from theaters.
Yeah.
The stuff they do. But it was an incredibly funny movie. Outrageous. It just took a look at, I guess America as this world policing organization.
I think they did Team America World Police because when they saw Thunderbirds relaunched, they were excited to see, like, great, we're going to see these marionettes again. And it's like new and modern day. And they didn't do any of that. And they're like, well, then we're going to.
We'll fix that quick. Next on our list, we have Tropic Thunder. This is one of my favorite movies. It really is.
This movie, okay, so one of the gems of this movie I thought was Tom Cruise.
Definitely. I didn't actually, when I sat down in the theater to watch it, I didn't even know he was in the movie.
I don't think most people did. I don't think he was part of the advertisements at all. I don't think even his name was on the...
And so I sat down and saw that, and he came up on the stage, and I was like, who is that?
He was
it took a few, I think it was like the second or third time he was on the screen where I finally went, holy shit, that's Tom Cruise.
He's in an incredibly large amount of makeup and prosthetics, but he's a manager, right? Or an agent. And the movie Tropic Thunder is just this insane look at the movie industry and all just ridiculousness that can happen on the set of a movie. And
an American playing an Australian, playing a black guy. It was
yes.
A black guy playing a white guy or something like that. It was like
at some point it was Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, it was great.
It was so incredibly. It was as insulting as Team America or even Book of Mormon can be.
Number 3. Just because it was a classic, it's one of the first ones I remember seeing, and it spawned off a huge series, was of course Police Academy.
Oh my god.
Spawned in the 80s.
I think there was like 5.
Hightower was in there.
Oh no, there were more than 5. I know that because at our cottage we have Police Academy 9.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, it's not good.
Still the original cast, or have they kind of moved on to?
No, I don't think anybody. I think there might have been 1 or 2 people.
I think it was Steve Guttenberg's career for the longest time.
There's also the guy that did the sound effects.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's the most parodied character, I think.
What was his name on
that series?
Michael Winslow?
Yeah. Oh, he was so good. That was a great cast. And the fact they kept them together for so many... You normally get a show like that or a movie like that, and you can get 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 with the cast, but then you start having to replace people. There was 4 or 5 of them with the same
the original cast, yeah, and they still made it work.
Yep.
It wasn't like not by any stretch is it quality, but it's so entertaining,
right?
So fun,
and definitely rewatchable.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I guess that's the through line for these is that they don't necessarily have to be quality, but
no, they're just entertainment.
Yeah, and Talladega Nights, I think, which is number 2, which is one of my favorite comedies of all time, is just the most ridiculous lampoon of NASCAR. You got just the greatest cast: Will Ferrell as Ricky Bobby, yeah, and Sacha Baron Cohen as the French driver. And it's insane because, and that's what makes these kind of movies the best in their genre, is that they take they take it almost seriously, but with the most ridiculous people in the world who you can see actually existing in real life in these scenarios, in these situations.
That should not be there
but
at
they
all.
shouldn't, and they just make the whole thing just absolutely hilarious. And I think Talladega Nights is one of the best examples of it, because you have the crazy, dumb, stupid NASCAR racers and the stupid fans, and they're not stupid. None of these people necessarily are, but it's exactly what you
just
expect.
Their portrayal
them.
is just ridiculous.
But it's what like the sort of the mass media portray them as sometimes, and what you almost expect stereotypically that these people are.
You got to sit down one day and watch Days of Thunder and then Talladega Nights back to back. I've done it. It is one of the greatest movie experiences in the world. If you got like 4.5 hours.
And then number 1?
Super Troopers. Definitely the king of the outrageous, off the wall comedy.
Spawned so many jokes that would just keep like.
Yeah, let me tell you, this movie.
Too late.
Meow. I'm not the biggest fan of it though. Super Troopers. I didn't really think it was that great.
Right, Meow?
I have no sense of humor.
That's right.
Is that why I didn't like Book of Mormon?
Exactly. That's why you had
seems to be
issues with
a
Book
theme.
of Mormon. You just don't have.
They're making a sequel, by the way.
Super Troopers.
Super Troopers. They kickstarted it.
Yeah.
And they got the money. I do think they've actually finished filming, and they're just.
Is it still the Broken Lizard post-production?
Broken Lizard, yeah. It's the same guys. Yeah. Everybody came back.
It's funny. Super Troopers. It's a lot like Police Academy, but for highway patrol. Right?
It was highway patrol, but I think even more.
Yeah, it was
more extreme, more ridiculous.
Yeah, and it was
definitely Police Academy.
Yes,
for sure. Police Academy was more antics, whereas.
But Super Troopers is all antics. That was where the comedy came from. Was the silly antics they were doing. It's an acquired taste, I suppose.
Oh, so good.
For point 5 though, and the point 5 is just something we like to think that would sort of qualify, but not really. But it's definitely something worth talking about in relation to the topic, which is in this case.
Deadpool.
Schindler's List. No.
As always, Deadpool.
As always, Deadpool.
As always.
As Mike's always.
Deadpool seems to get incorporated into every
Right, we
list.
talk about Flash and Deadpool in every bloody episode.
One day we're going to do...
Flash is fine. It's just Deadpool's getting overused.
One day we're going to be doing our 5.5 Westerns, and Deadpool will be on that list as well.
Why?
Because it is a Western.
5.5 rom-coms, Deadpool hits the
Western,
list.
Deadpool,
sure.
yeah. It's a spaghetti Western. I mean, it's over the top with bullets. It fits in so many genres.
Sci-fi, I suppose.
Sci-fi,
Yeah, definitely
superhero
sci-fi.
movie.
Definitely sci-fi.
I think actually it definitely fits sci-fi because it was our number 1 when we did top sci-fi.
It might have
No,
been.
we did spin-offs.
It might have
was
been.
Deadpool.
Yeah, we found a way to consider Deadpool a spin-off of the X-Men universe.
The X-Men.
Yeah, that's
even
true.
though it was its own movie.
But I just mean like Deadpool hits so many boxes.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, I've seen it like 30 times. It only came out a year ago.
We're gonna have to stop talking about Deadpool at some point.
Not yet.
Not yet, but eventually it'll end up.
I'll make you a deal. When we stop talking about The Flash, we can stop talking about Deadpool.
All right. Well, I think that's the show then today, everyone. Thank you very much for listening.
We talk about The Flash.
No. We really hope you've enjoyed it as much as we apparently have. If you'd like to contact the show, remember you can do so at contact@shiftingfocuspodcast.com. Tell us what you think. This is our 4th episode, and we've been getting a lot of good feedback from friends and family, but of course they like us, and they'll say anything. So what the hell do they know? We want to hear from those of you that we don't know who, if we get some regular fan mail, maybe we'll read it on the show. So please drop us a line. You can also visit our website at www.shiftingfocuspodcast.com, and there you'll find links out to our various social media pages. Our Twitter is @ShiftFocusPod, and for Facebook and YouTube, just search for The Shifting Focus.
This is our 5th episode, by the way.
No.
Yeah,
4th.
Rogue One, Lego Batman, Logan, Iron Fist, and this one.
Rogue One was not released.
If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll find videos relating to our show. And if you'd like to support the show, look for us on Patreon. More details are there. Thank you very much for joining me this week, Mike.
See you later.
Dave.
Have a great week.
Yes, indeed. See ya.
I could have swore we did Rogue One as a real thing.
Man, the edit's going to be...
Have fun splicing that in there, Ryan. I wondered why you jumped in like that too, because you jumped right because you realized we'd missed your AI story and you wanted to talk about it, and you jumped right in.
Because then I started thinking about what I was going to say, and then but he paused and everyone paused and there was no more talking, and I said, "Oh, that's it."
No, when you go back and do the edit, you're going to realize he was mid-sentence when you went into it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
There was a comma, and you jumped in with and another news, and it's like, okay, here we go.
And I guess I'm done. And
try not to choke on your aspirations.
Right. Like, that one I was like, oh, really? Somebody wrote that and someone else said, yes, let's leave
I
this
love
in.
it. I'm glad they did. That was amazing.
Oh, no. That was horrible because it was forced. It wasn't even, get it, forced, Star Wars. Anyway. No, it was just, I don't know. It didn't feel natural. It didn't feel
Yeah, but
smooth.
It was a great line, though. Come on. I read a great choke online. Someone was like, when he first meets Obi-Wan, he's in the Death Star. He goes, Obi-Wan, we meet at last again. The last time you left me, I was the apprentice. You were the master. Now prepare. Like, he says, 3 different lines. And it's like, the guy left you dismembered in a lava pit. You should be like, the are you doing back here? You left me to die and burn, you Yeah. And it's like, he probably practiced 3 different lines in the mirrors every day for the day when he would finally meet Obi-Wan again. And then at the day comes, he was too nervous. He just used them all. It's almost good that we didn't agree on that, though, at least. At least there's that.
We didn't agree on
everything. We had
some
disagreements.
Yeah. Which is good, because that makes for a good discussion.
Iron Fist, we all agreed that it was shit. And so it was just a circle jerk of how terrible it was.
Yeah.